Welcome, everyone. This is Polly Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin,
Hi, hi.
Sanswinda,
Hello.
Werendis,
Hello, everyone.
and Calabathian.
Good evening.
Good evening, one and all. And it is time for us to head into our news for this week. And of course, it being the first week of the year, there isn't all that much, but there is a little patch that we had, update 28.2.2. And in that, stats have been boosted for Tier 2 and Tier 3 legendary item titles found at levels 115 and lower. Physical mastery and tactical mastery values have been reduced on Tier 4 legendary item titles. There is a known issue, though, that these values were over-reduced from about 40k to 16k. In a future patch, these values will be lifted slightly to 30. I'm not too sure going from 16k to 30k is a slight lift, but that's the word used in the patch notes. As for quests and adventure areas, dual mode has been restored to the following 3-player instances: in Gath and Daraval, the Shadow Roost, the Harrowing of Morgul, Gortha Nor, the Deep Barrow, Edth Guar, the Filth Well, Glimmerdeep, Caverns of Thrumfall, and Askad Mazal, the Chamber of Shadows. And also, they corrected an issue that was causing some English text to display instead of German in the German game client. They removed an error in the French client with the phrase "dufold armaments" and various smaller typo and grammar corrections throughout. So a very small patch, probably not much that you're going to notice in there unless that was a very glaring piece of English text in the German client that they were speaking of there. So let's head into the LOTRO Beacon, issue 187, where we have at the top, someone is trying to feed his war pig with an apple or something?
Well, I'm pretty sure that's the pet pig. But yeah, it looks like he's trying to feed it an apple. I have no idea how they got that screenshot. I kind of want to know because it looks really cool.
I bet it's somebody else's pet pig.
Oh, could be.
Well, that's a possibility. For
It's
our
still really
community
neat.
For our community spotlight, the Bounders of the Shire cordially invite you to their 13th birthday. Unfortunately, the birthday has already passed. So, because that was on this weekend. And the Minstrel Guild of Breed is hosting a champagne bash. That was also, unfortunately, this weekend. Fortunately, next weekend, we do have something to announce, and that is for Winterstock 8, which is starting on January 15th. You can get the details for the 3-day concert on Langible at the LOTRO forums, and there is a link to there in the beacon. And there are quite a number of bands that'll be playing there this year. And for the weekly comment, what is your LOTRO goal for 2021?
I have 2 characters that I'm leveling, and I'd like to see at least one of them, if not both of them, hit 100, so I can start grinding even more in Minas Tirith. But anyway,
I definitely want to get my my LIs, the first stagers, actually done this year.
What's your definition of done?
Well, I mean, I've done nothing to them at this point, so you know.
I know, but at the point where you have everything perfect, exactly the way you want, that's the day they finally release the LI changes.
Yeah, but I at least want to get to that point.
I don't know. Are we due to see ally changes this year? I thought they said they pushed it back until like next year.
I thought that was last year that they said that, but it might be true again this year.
I would say that there are absolutely no guarantees on when that's going to happen.
I thought
Well,
somebody
last
asked
week-
during Severland's Q&A, and they said, yeah, not going to happen probably in 2021.
Right. So, yes, most likely that's not going to happen anytime soon. Probably, I think it was very definitely almost certainly after Gundabad. And Gundabad is probably going to be late 2021. Yeah.
So more days in Minas Tirith for everyone. Woohoo!
If we can actually get them to not mess with the balance in the moors right now, I would like to reach rank 9 on my work.
That would be cool.
Hmm.
My goal was rank 8, but I made it. So maybe I should set a new goal.
Right. Anyone else have any goals that they've set? Because I really can't
Actually,
think of any.
I would love to get Terry up to 300,000 morale. That would be awesome.
How much is she at right now?
273k unbuffed.
Well, then, assuming that there are going to be 10 new levels with Gundabad.
I mean, they
Do we
might
know that,
change
though?
like how much you can get too. Like how much morale you can get. They might adjust all the numbers again.
Yeah. You have a point there.
It might be good to try to get that before Gundabad comes out, just in case.
Then let's head over into the fansite news, where last week we knew something about that candidate didn't. and LOTRO Stream is your first stop to find LOTRO on Twitch. This week, Drew's Fire rings in the new year. Baviel gets Yuletime festive, and Winnie muses. Also on Twitch is the Turkish streamer Orta Dunya.com, crafts and chats on to his large audience. Bloodborne gets a swift strike, and Queen Perwithian celebrates the new year. And over on YouTube, Gear LDC 717 kicks off his second season. Space Game Junkie ends the year, and Zagog finds the source of the rot.
No. Not gonna say it.
All right, then. For our screenshot of the week, Nimrathel captures a lovely sunrise in Western Rohan for this week's screenshot of the week. Send in your screenshot for consideration by emailing it to lotro@standingstonegames.com.
That is a gorgeous picture.
It is.
Whee! And that is it for this week's Beacon. And that also concludes the news. So let's head into our store sales this week. Terry, what's on sale?
Crafting junk.
Oh.
The weekly coupon is a Scroll of Finesse for 90 minutes with coupon code Finesse90 now through January 14th and also through January 14th. 25% off Crafting Guild access, ingredient packs, crafting accelerators, rapid craft, crafting tiers, and recipe books. Blah.
I'll take that as not your favorite sale this week.
I don't do crafting!
Except when you make lunches, right?
Except when I make lunches. I do make lunches.
Then let's into our week in LOTRO. And Calabathian, what were you up to?
Lots of warging this week. Killian, my warg, is almost to rank 8. I think I've gone up 20% this week, which is like a lot. But had a lot of fun as well on the moors, and that's pretty cool. I also created a new Stout Axe Berg on Arkenstone named Buddy, Buttei, but and have tried to level him up to 10, trying to get him that way. Next, I'm thinking once I get the money, he'll be Valard to 120, and join his friends Leggy and Army. And then I went with the rest of the academy on Friday into a Regian and ran away from a large water creature just before going to get weapons that will end it at some point if we stay on task long enough. Because I know we're going to have to, go through the epic and then go off the epic in order, I think, to actually get it. And there's like dungeons and stuff. And I don't know if we're actually going to do that, but it would be really cool if we did. But Glorindus, how about you?
Oh, well, the hobbits finished all the available quests in Trumdrang and made it to Galtrev, where my hobbit hunter Salvia slapped an old lady with fish because she'd heard the head of the household had told her about just what this woman ends up doing to you. So that happened. Hey, Katrin got a good smack upside the head. Gorindus has been running about today, starting to decorate for the Street of Dreams housing tour, which my kin Knights of the White Lady have each year. That's noon, February 7th on Landerval, if anybody wants to show up. We'll be making announcements in the world chat. But this is requiring me to go back and do older dailies for reputation tokens. And I'd forgotten just how much I actually, I'm probably going to get at least one person going, what? But how much I enjoyed doing the Dol Amroth dailies. And I'm actually looking forward to getting back to trying those again on different characters, because I think it'll be fun trying different classes. But Dol Amroth and Minas Tirith of all things, because I needed a wheat field. And why do you get wheat fields? Is this like to replace what got burned on Pelennor? I've never understood why you get the wheat fields from the defenders of Minas Tirith. Anyway, otherwise I didn't do a lot of deep questing over the week because I keep being plagued by latency and loss issues. And if you're a guardian, that split second when you can't get your shout off could be a problem when you're taking on things that are a couple of levels over you, like in Rickwood. So yeah, haven't done a whole lot else in the game this week. Sansvinda, what did you get up to?
Well, my Arya Dwarven Runekeeper, the one I messed up on and got healing allies for out of the boxes, he got his first roving threat kills, so that was pretty fun this week.
Nice.
Yeah, we killed roving threats in Central and Eastern Gondor, I believe, and it was awesome. And there were warbands, and there were lots of big booms, and it was a lot of fun. And then Bofal, my champion, who's now level 76, got really close to getting his war steed. In fact, there was a guy standing there with a ring over his head that I could turn in and start the quest for the war steeds, but my group said no, and so I had to leave the bridge, and it was really sad. But I will be back. And my warg made it to rank 8 today, actually. And found out yesterday that yes, 2 Freeps can totally still wipe a warg pack. Balance is not an issue necessarily. You just need more than 1 Freep out at a time, and they do plenty of damage. But yeah. So, that was a lot of fun, and now I guess I've got to work on rank 9, which is going to be very slow, judging by the fact that I still am less than 1% of the way there. But I've also only been rank 8 for a little bit, so we'll see. How was your week, Terry?
Well, Terry Adwin continued with missions enough to, between the missions and the Embers quest you can do with the war marks of the Gundabad, the other currency, not the Gabal Aka stuff, but the other currency in the area. She got enough embers for another box of equipment, and so I'm going eeny, meeny, miny, mo, because I'm trying to figure out what I want to buy, because they don't really let you preview what's in them until you have the box. But the last box she got was a really, really nice upgraded bow. So this time I went for another weapons box, and I got a pretty sweet offhand. Because now she's got 273,000 unbuffed morale, which is really nice. And also the DPS. I'm actually noticing that her DPS has gone up by a significant margin, because I can tell that it's now taking like 0.5 seconds less to kill the things that she was killing prior to the gear update. And as Gwendis mentioned, stuff like that matters when you're trying to kill things. Taking less time to kill things is a good thing, especially when your whole point in being there is to kill all of the things. And then, Axley and friends tracked down a rogue Nazgul, and we also tracked down a rogue Buffalo who wanted to go off on the bridge. But it is not time for us to do that based on the story, so we had to go back on task. And Buffalo was very sad. But we did some touring in Karascalathon, and tracking the rogue Nazgul went about as well as expected, or as badly as expected, by which I mean we picked up more companions, including an elf, so that should be fun. So we did the epic quest through the Great River, and went back to Lothlorien, and now we're back in the Great River. But that's going to be a short trip, because we just need to pick up one more person, and we can be on our way. So 2 weeks, we should have war steeds, because I figure next week we can get through all the session plays, because there's a lot of session plays coming. The whole Breaking of the Fellowship thing is a thing that we have in our future, and then we can devote a whole week play session of getting war steeds, which those Langhold quests are long. It's a long storyline. It's not, you don't talk to the guy at the bridge and just magically get a war steed. That is not what happens. You have to do the quest chain, and it's not just a 1 or 2 quests. It's a whole chain of quests.
I know.
And through the whole thing, they're throwing shade on your horse about how it's not fast enough.
I
and
know,
you're
and
going,
it's not
so
even
give me a fast horse.
But seriously.
But no.
I never thought about the fact that they really horse shamed you.
They really do.
Harsh.
Because California and Galabrillis just went through it not that long ago. And they really do horse shame you through those quests. And you're like, well, give me a fast horse. Don't talk about how slow my horse is. Give me one of yours. And you finally get one, but
I think all characters whose background is Rohan should get a fast horse well before then, and should have different dialogue.
Agreed. But I think that dialogue should be updated for everybody's background. So, and then Morse.
Sorry.
No, I was gonna say Morse. Spent a lot of time. So since Wednesday, I've been spending a lot of time in the Moors for reasons. But I'm still only rank 8. I'm almost 40% of the way through rank 8, so that's a plus, I guess. But we did have a couple moments where we came out gloriously, and then we had a couple moments where we ran into a fighter and an unkillable bear, and they beat the crap out of us. And it was kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
So, especially since you still have people in OOC who are complaining that the Freeps don't want to play because the creeps are overpowered. Creeps are not overpowered if 2 Freeps, especially an unkillable bear, can wipe the floor with us.
There was a champion who did too. Like, we finally got him, but it took all of us working together to take him down.
Oh, yeah,
and
that guy.
He killed half of us, and we had to run back in to finish him.
Yeah. Twice. A couple of us ran in twice. On the other hand, hunters are kind of the squishies of the moors right now because we ran across, I think, a rank 11 hunter um, completely by accident because the lugs keep had flipped and we had mentioned something in OOC about possibly getting it back because Cinders didn't have the quest, and this was Thursday night. There were only 3 of us. It was just Calabathian and myself. So it was Killian, Terry Fluffs, and Zablob on the moors, Lone Wargs on the moors. And as we're sitting in, because there's the Captain General room, and then there's an empty corridor, and then there's the quest giver room, and we were parked in the empty corridor, kind of watching the red dots move around to see if there was any action coming. And while we're sitting there watching the red dots, I happened to glance at chat, and in the chat was like the NPC response that you get when you turn in a quest, and I'm like, guys, somebody's here. So we go up into the quest giver room, and there's nobody there. But I used my track and tracked somebody, and when I actually clicked the thing, the dot was actually outside. But they came back in, and it turned out to be a hunter. And I said, well, they're going to track probably in a minute, and when they start tracking, we'll pounce them. But as we sat there, like watching this hunter, nothing happened. They just stood there, kind of looking really confused. Like, I don't know if they forgot how to use their track or they didn't know where their track skill was or what the heck was going on. But I mean, this is a rank 11 hunter. So anyway, I said, okay, I'm going for it. And I pounced. And because it was an elf, but it looked like a female elf. It turned out after the defeat message, I saw the defeat message and it said he had succumbed to his wounds. I'm like, oop, it was the guy. But yeah, so they dragged us through all of the NPCs in the quest giver room, and then they dragged us down and through all of the NPCs in the Captain General room, and the Captain General almost killed me. But we ate the hunter and then we disappeared. And it was the most I have ever gotten from a freep kill in the moors because it was split 3 ways and it was 66 infamy for me.
Nice.
It was very, very tasty. Yeah, it was great.
Tasty.
Very, very tasty.
Tasty.
So, Pine Leaf, how was your week?
I'll begin with my warden on Honor, the legendary server, where I arrived in Dol Amroth. I reached level 100 and broke some news to Lothriel about her fiance.
Oh, I bet that didn't go over well.
Yeah. Yeah. And then during the field trip for the academy, we ran into an overgrown squid and found a legendary weapon that we can use in the future.
Overgrown squid. That's an apt description of that.
Yes. And during Friday Night Fights, we ran the stairs battle, which seems to be a tradition there when we're playing with the high level group, is to run the stairs battle in there. And even though I think 2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, where we had a great deal of trouble with the second boss, this time we were able to get through the second boss pretty handily. So we got a better idea on how to handle that second boss. The second boss is the boss that freezes people every once in a while. So it's very, very annoying because when you get frozen, it means you have to make sure that you unfreeze that person before you do anything else. I think the last
That
time we
sounds
did it,
horrible.
yeah, it's a bit of a pain because he turns you into an icicle temporarily. And yeah, that's a horrible thing for him to do, but we've managed to be able to get people out of it quickly enough so that we didn't lose anyone and got some nice pieces of armor from there. So we handled that. Then we went to the third boss and squished third boss, thus completing that one pretty easily. Then we thought, all right, let's go and fight at the fort of Bruinen, because what can possibly go wrong there?
Everything.
Well,
Well, it's the twins.
yeah,
Exactly. Everything.
yeah. Well, fortunately, we managed to handle all the things that might have gone wrong in there, and we actually got through it pretty handily, as far as I could tell. Managed to keep the twins safe and to kill all the bosses and finish with that. So that was all nice and happy in there. And that concludes what I did this week. Our top supporter this month is LOTRObuild.com. It is a collection of full LOTRO databases, including an item database, a relics database, and a titles database. Also, you can use it right from your Discord server on LOTRObuild. We currently have 16 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious raid and support LOTRO players, you can go to the donations page. You can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money would be used for podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. If you would like to support us without joining Patreon, you could contact Drac at lotraplayers.com. We did not receive any emails this week. If you'd like to send one, you can send it to podcast@lotraplayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, Lotra Players at Lotra Players, Horrendous at Horrendous, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles, Senswinda at Senswinda, Terry Edwin at Terry Edwin, Guarendis at Guarendis, and Calabathian at Calabathian. The Players Alliance has two shows. On Wednesdays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. And on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Lotra Players News. And you can join us for our shows at lotraplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.